We are live in Chicago. We are live. Let's see if we get this thingy going. We are live on Instagram as well. Goodies, goodies. This is the last day, the aftermath of the retreat that we had last week. You suddenly pop in on this one. It's like, what are you talking about? We had a whole week of 1 hour a day retreat opening up, moving energy, and now we have the last kind of aftermath. So cool that somebody's ready for it, and had some people watching it in after time, not live, but after, and the energy is the same. It kind of opens up and they kind of watch it as if it's live, because it doesn't really matter if you're here live or not. So, and the birds are chirping. They are alive. There's a new energy here coming in. So we've had some response, some feedback on these 5 days after the retreat, some digesting, letting go of the retreat in a way, kind of like allowing yourself to just settle in, and it's not so much about understanding everything as more as that it kind of works with your subconscious or unconscious parts and brings up energy. So that is our focus. That is why these are created, to kind of help move energy and to kind of gradually see the bigger picture, to get the eagle's view down so that you can enjoy this journey. That is where this path is going. It is the ease of life. It is something that keeps growing. It's not just an awakening or an understanding or a seeing or realization. It's just, there's many layers that we can awaken to. So it is actually like many people have awakenings of some sort, whether it's business or tarot card, or like different stuff, or in different kind of, or yoga or tai chi, but a lot of times you hit a plateau where you kind of just, you teach from, but the body has more levels, more energy to transform. You can become aware of body, mind, soul, the emotions, and kind of transform that path. So it is a little bit uncomfortable, because when we have this, we have our presence, and then we have our ego, and we are aware of some of the ego. So when we kind of move in and set the intention and join into a retreat, we're actually unplugging from the ego. So whether our ego is mostly focused on the mind or in emotions or the body, suddenly you can feel a lot of pain in the body, or a lot of emotions come up, anxiety, depression, or we can feel a lot of confusion, or suddenly seeing new parts of ourselves. So releasing and transforming the ego is not necessarily comfortable. Oh, I go here because it's so comfortable. The ease of life sounds so easy. No, it's not easy per se. It's actually something you have to show up. You have to dare to have a little bit of a calling, like feeling that this is actually something you're ready to kind of go a little bit beyond where a lot of people stop. You have to dare to go continue there. there's more there. When most people are happy and secure and they got enough money, they got husband or wife, they got kids, they got their family, their friends, they're stable, they feel success. Well, that's still just the ego. Your ego can be woke. We can step beyond that and into peace and tranquility and getting to know our presence, our ego, our body in a new way. So I had some good feedback. Some people kind of just suddenly you're experiencing that, like, your outside world can suddenly like criticize you. You're seeing yourself, your new sides. You can almost the path to like awakening and releasing the ego is like to realize that you're not perfect. You're not supposed to do everything perfect. Our ego is somewhat focused on being perfect, figuring everything out. So when people come here, it is not a figuring out. The ease of life is like the opposite of figuring it out. It's like the faith to kind of enjoy the journey and not really understanding and knowing everything. It's like allowing yourself to be guided. So to kind of step back and see that life has uncomfortable and unknowings, that we can't know everything, can't be stuck there, or we can be stuck there, but we're kind of always just trying to be secure, fix everything, be perfect for our kids or for everything. But sometimes you have to take a step back and just enjoy it and smell the flowers, listen to the birds. And then suddenly we can start like perceiving that your body can, just like being drunk, you can be drunk on life, drunk on love, drunk on connections, drunk on food, drunk on smells, sounds. Like there's so much more to the body than meets the eye, than the ego. So there's parts of you that when we say, well, this is how I am, this is my personality. Yeah, but that's just a small part of you. There's a bigger part that is there. So this is the first time we kind of have a little bit more like a set teaching. It's kind of taking the time to kind of bring it out into words, but the energy has been there. But it's also taken 20 years to kind of create a system that will keep you challenged. Understand that you have to sometimes get a little challenged, because we have a tendency to want to be just, oh, I'm comfortable. I'm not going to partake a little more. I'm just comfortable. Comfortable is good, but also daring to open up and receive life, receive teachings, receive breath, receive yourself. So that is what we're kind of doing here. So I had different people. Some people see it afterwards and are enjoying it. Other people follow it live and had some. If you haven't felt like you've given some feedback, then we will probably talk later. Usually most of the people here, also a good substitute is to kind of have a one-on-one session once in a while, or text me, or kind of sometimes you can, in a few weeks, you can suddenly feel a little stuck, or like there's stuff that might still kind of work in your system. The path is daring to seek clarity, but also daring to like not seek it too much, not be too stuck in wanting to understand everything. So if there's any other comments about this journey or something that experienced, then you can write it now if you feel like it, or we will step into the second part of a little bit of a meditation and silence. I will usually talk anyway, so, but cute. I will take a little breather, lay down or wherever you are, get undressed or get into the bathtub or go and pee or whatever you're comfortable with wanting to. Just enjoy this, and I will see you in a few minutes. Cute. We are back. So if you feel like it, lay down or stretch out where we are. Also had some people who kind of listen to it and don't really kind of remember anything I've said, because the path of the words are not really the most important part. It's kind of like we kind of work on your unconscious or subconscious mind or your body, and that's where like stirring up the energy and start moving it, and then sometimes the words come later. It might even take a few weeks before you suddenly feels changed. That's sometimes people will be like, I didn't really, because sometimes when you're more in the mind or kind of just detached from it and listening, you might not feel too much in the body even, or emotions. You might just feel like detached, and maybe you're like just kind of coming and going, attending a little bit, and so you're still kind of actually part of the retreat and there's energy moving, but it might take a little time. You might feel like you're not really attending, or you might feel detached. But then gradually it still works, and you might suddenly start dreaming, or you might suddenly, oh, cool. It suddenly just paused for poor connection. That was perfect. It unplugged. That's cool. I love when the computers, it's kind of like when my teacher, he could always like notice that computers or electricity responded. So here we were actually like being on YouTube, on Instagram, like sometimes the energy is like delayed. It might be fast on YouTube or in Instagram, but also suddenly it unplugs. The energy connection goes because we're going into the unconscious mind, and then the energy kind of disconnects to open up a space and to connect again. So now we literally did it. And that's kind of like when you are, the more you are stepping back, we're so used to like liking with the ego, but to go deeper, we have to like also like not like it. It's kind of having the importance of having a teacher is that we get challenged on what we like or not like, and not everything will be pleasant or understandable, because our ego has a tendency to try to hold on to everybody and everything. And instead, it's actually the other part where the teacher is there to guide you to the other side of yourself, the part of yourself that is not your ego, so that you get to see your ego more. And then gradually, sometimes then in a few weeks, suddenly there's more wisdom coming up, and suddenly you can notice that you're responding differently. You're less attached to your ego. You're less attached to being triggered in the same way as before. So lay down. Close your eyes, or just kind of notice the whole room you're in. And kind of drop the shoulders a little bit, like the spine gets heavy, the elbows gets heavy, the knees, the hips, and then just kind of we're just actually opening up the whole energy body, which is kind of like the space around you. It kind of becomes warm or cold. Sound can suddenly like arise more. And let yourself drift off. Yeah, and let the breath in. This process is more like a remembrance how natural relaxation is, how natural energy moves through the body, just like a little baby. Just kind of connecting with her mom or her dad, just collapsing and just sitting on their shoulder or on their hip, just connecting. So you're just kind of connecting with the body deeper, dropping down into relaxation, into connection, into feeling, into love, into intimacy. To be connected with your body is very intimate, it's very naked, it's very like boundaryless. It's like being naked all the time, just always connected to your genitals, to your belly, to your chest, your boobs, your shoulders, your head, your hair, your ankles, your feet. Your breath, and just the air around you. and kind of like your sweat get like wet under your arms or wet down below, feeling like you have to pee or feeling like you're like sweating between the legs or on your back. So you lay down, get kind of warm and sticky. It's like the whole part of like opening up the energy is like the energy starts flowing, and then you like that wetness, just like when you're horny, like you're wet or like you're sweating. It's like that water kind of goes through the body and it heals the body. It kind of nourishes the body. So that's like the focus of nourishing the body. Cute. You can start coming back. This was the last day of the retreat. I'm happy. It was fun. There's always a lot of energy and it keeps opening up in me, and that's why we're kind of doing it, because it's a very efficient way of connecting, kind of understanding a little bit and seeing that we're all kind of a little bit different, plugged in, whether it's more instinctual in the body, if it's more like the heart, if it's more the mind, more spiritual or sex. There's different connections. It's more like you're wanting to teach or being a parent. We have all these different connections, and there's like an expansion. There's a journey that can unfold. That is what, while we kind of open up and understand our surroundings, we can open up and understand ourselves at the same time. So that is what I call the Ease of Life. We'll probably have another retreat in August, because it's kind of like summer now. So August is probably the next one. So hopefully I will see you guys then, and have a beautiful day.